Non-economists use the word demand to mean how much of a product consumers want. In economics, demand isn't how much of a product you want, it's the relationship between all the prices that could be charged for a product and the number of units consumers are willing to buy at each of those various prices. For example, let's suppose that if the price of pizza were $12, you would be willing to buy 6 pizzas per month. If the price of a pizza were $9, you would be willing to buy 9 pizzas per month. And if the price of a pizza were $6, you would be willing to buy 12 pizzas per month. All of this information together, along with how much pizza you'd be willing to buy at all the other possible prices, is your demand for pizza. Demand doesn't tell us how much pizza you're going to buy. It tells us how much you're willing to buy at each of the possible prices. We can show demand as a chart or as a graph, though graphs tend to communicate the information better than charts. For most products, as the price of the product rises, the number of units consumers are willing to buy decreases. In order to properly understand demand, one must understand what is meant by the phrase willing to buy. Consider 3 sentences. I want a Ferrari. I'm willing to buy a Ferrari. I bought a Ferrari. The sentence, I want a Ferrari, says only that I have a desire for a Ferrari. If someone gave one to me, I'd happily accept it. The sentence does not say I would actually purchase the Ferrari if given the chance. Whether I'm willing to buy a Ferrari depends on how much money I have available to spend, the price of the Ferrari, the prices of competing cars, how badly I want a Ferrari, how badly I want a car at all, and numerous other things like the cost of insuring and fueling the car, whether or not I need 4-wheel drive, how many seats I need in a car. I'm willing to buy a Ferrari is also different from I bought a Ferrari. You might go to the dealership to buy the car, but when you get there, the dealership doesn't have the particular version you're willing to buy. The sentence, I am willing to buy a Ferrari, means that you will actually purchase the Ferrari provided that the Ferrari is available. We call the number of units of a product a consumer is willing to buy per unit time quantity demanded. Let's return to a consumer's demand for pizza. Suppose the price of pizza is $12. According to the consumer's demand, the consumer is willing to buy 6 pizzas per week. The 6 pizzas per week is the consumer's quantity demanded. Now suppose that the price of pizza falls from $12 to $9. According to the consumer's demand, the number of pizzas the consumer is willing to buy will rise from 6 pizzas per week to 9 pizzas per week. We say that the quantity demanded of pizzas rises from 6 to 9 per week when the price falls from $12 to $9. So what determines whether a person's demand for a product is high or low? There are many factors that go into determining a consumer's demand. Economists divide these factors into 3 major categories: the consumer's preferences or tastes, how much the consumer has available to spend, and the prices of other products. Preferences summarize how the consumer feels about the product, independent of prices and the consumer's available money. As the person's preference for a product rises, his demand for the product rises. As the person's preference for a product falls, his demand for the product falls. How much money a person has available to spend also affects his demand. The more money the consumer has available to spend, the more the consumer will tend to buy the product. The greater will be the consumer's demand for the product. The less money the consumer has available to spend, the lesser will be the consumer's demand. How the prices of other products influences consumers' demands depends on what those products are. For example, we're talking about the demand for eggs. Suppose you prefer to eat eggs with bacon. For you, eggs and bacon are complements, 2 products that you tend to consume together. If the price of bacon is high, you will tend to consume less bacon. But since you eat eggs and bacon together, you will also eat fewer eggs. So the higher is the price of bacon, the less will be your demand for eggs. The lower is the price of bacon, the greater will be your demand for eggs. Also, Suppose that you usually eat either eggs or cereal, but not both. For you, eggs and cereal are substitutes, two products that you tend not to consume together. If the price of cereal is high, you will tend to eat less cereal and therefore more eggs instead. The higher is the price of cereal, the greater will be your demand for eggs. The lower is the price of cereal, the lesser will be your demand for eggs. So far, we've been talking about a single consumer's demand, but consumers aren't the same. Think about pizza. Different consumers have different preferences for pizza, different abilities to afford pizza, and different preferences for other things they might buy instead of pizza or perhaps with pizza. Because of these differences, each consumer will have a different demand for pizza. Suppose there are three people, A, B, and C. Each has a different demand for pizza. Maybe because he likes pizza a lot, or maybe because he has a lot of money to spend, or maybe because he has a lot of beer on hand and he prefers to consume pizza and beer together. Person A has a high demand for pizza. For similar reasons, suppose that B's demand for pizza is moderate and C's demand for pizza is low. We can combine these people's individual demands for pizza into a total demand of pizza by performing what is known as horizontal addition. To add the three demand curves, we pick a price and ask, what quantity of pizza will each person demand at that price? For example, if the price of pizza is $12, person A is willing to buy 6 pizzas per week, person B is willing to buy 3 pizzas per week, and person C is willing to buy 2 pizzas per week. So if the price of pizza is $12, then the 3 people are willing to buy a total of 11 pizzas per week. Similarly, if the price of pizza is $9, the people are willing to buy a total of 18 pizzas per week. And if the price is $6, the people are willing to buy a total of 25 pizzas per week. When we horizontally add all the individual demands, we get the total demand for the product. This gives us a fourth factor that influences the demand for a product: the number of consumers. The greater is the number of consumers, the greater will be the total demand for the product. The lesser is the number of consumers, the lesser will be the total demand for the product. So we now know that demand is the relationship between the price of a product and the number of units of the product consumers are willing to buy per unit time. And we know that altering consumers' preferences, the money they have available to spend, the prices of substitutes or complements, or the number of consumers will change demand.